In this chapter, I will show you how to use photons and create caustics. And as you can see, we will use region to speed up our workflow. Select object, which will cast caustics. Go to Tags, Redshift Tags, Redshift Object. Under Visibility section, turn on Override, and you have to enable Cast Caustic Photons. Without this feature, Redshift will not render caustics. As next step, select your light, which you are using to create your caustics, and go to Photon tab, and here we have Caustic section where we have to enable Emit Caustic Photons. Now you have correct setup for caustic visualization, but still we can't see in our render view any caustics. And reason is because progressive rendering is not supporting caustics. You have to switch to bucket rendering to be able to see your caustics. And now you can see that started our caustic visualization. Starting point looks always very grainy and needs time to calculate, so you can expect that your workflow will slow down. Go to Render Settings, and under Redshift section we have Photon tab. Click on Photon tab, and here as you can see we have Photon section where we can change the parameters. All those changes are non-stop calculating, so pause your render view if you do not need to see them. As next step, I will show you how to change number of photons to get much better results. And this time is going to be really big changes. Currently we have only 100,000, so as first step we will use 1 million. And as you can see, immediately we are getting much better result. But more photons you are using, more calculation has to do Redshift, so it will increase your render time as well. As next step, we can use intensity multiplier, which will increase visibility of our caustics. And as you can see, we have brighter, better looking caustic, but also now is more visible his noise. Let's do increase intensity even more, and also we will change number of photons from 1 million to 10 millions. And now we are getting nice clean results and cool looking caustic. Let's do have a look on our photon settings. As first you can change mode, rebuild mode, saving calculation and photo mapping data on the disk, so later you can use load mode and load them. But rebuild don't save, recalculating every single frame without saving. As next we have tracing depth sliders for reflection, refraction and combined. Usually default values working just fine, but as example, if you don't want to use reflection tracing depth, just move slider to 0, because those settings are numbers of times that photons may bounce around the geometry, so more tracing depth means more calculations. And in our render view you can see how it looks when instead 10 we are using 5 tracing depth. As next we have maximum number caustics photons, which controls the maximum limit of photons that can be stored in search radius. More photons you are using, more memory you will need, but it not always mean that it will improve image quality. Around 200 photons should work just nice. Next we have caustic search radius, and it controls the distance around each shaded pixel that will be used to find photons. Larger values mean smoother but blurrier results. And as we can see in our render view now, search radius more than 20 completely destroyed our caustic. And now I will show you how looks search radius 3, search radius 1, and also search radius 0.1. And here is tracing depth example with reflection 0, and one more example 134 when we have not enough refractions tracing. So be careful about lower numbers in your tracing depth optimization. As you can see in our photon section, we have inactive enable GI, max num GI photons and GI search radius. All those parameters working with GI section under our lights. so we can use photons for global illumination as well. But first we have to go to GI section and enable as our primary GI engine photon map. Go to photon section, and now as you can see we have active enable GI, maxnum GI photons and GI search radius. And if you will enable emit GI photons, you will have global illumination setup with photon map. But it produces very noisy results, so you need a lot of photons to clean it up. That's main reason why I prefer brute force instead. And this setup is not affecting our caustics. But now you will have idea why we have all those parameters under photons section.